G'day guys, welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to show you how I make my coconut pole, which I've been using for years now as I travel around Australia. First stop Bunnings, down to the gardening section where all the saws are. Now these are the saws I like to use. They're one of the strongest ones and quite inexpensive. I repeat, do not buy one of these cheaper ones. They break in half and they can fall on your head. Pull pole, there's two different types and two different lengths. You want to go the longer ones and go with the style like this with those blue quick releases on them. They are thicker, stronger, much easier to deploy and pack up, and they're safer as well. So go with two of these blue ones and then head to the irrigation section for some hose clamps, 50mm diameter. Now this is my third version of the coconut pole. It's been refined over the years and I've learned heaps. One of the biggest dangers when collecting coconuts is things falling on your head. For example, coconuts. But not only that, but the pole itself, especially that kind of mechanism, I found that when you're pulling really hard to try to get a coconut down, sometimes, even when that's really tight, it can still pull out completely and come falling down on your head. I've had a few close calls. I reckon I've even been cut once from one of my saws that actually broke in half and came down and hit me. Lucky it was only on my arm, not on my head. But yeah, this is the reason why I say no to that type of pole. And I'm now upgrading to this style of pole with the quick release mechanism here, because I find that even if it was to let go of that clip, it doesn't actually want to come out. I can't pull that out with all my strength. So it's a bit safer. I find that they're a little bit stronger to these poles, so they don't flex and bend as much, which is also a bit of an issue. All right, let's get this bad boy together. You got your poles, step one, want to remove these little plastic bits. Just push them in and you can pull them out. We don't need those. The way I join these two poles together is using a piece of steel like this. Now you're gonna have to get creative because I couldn't find anything at Bunnings the right diameter. I went to an op shop and I found one of those rehabilitation walking sticks is 28.5mm into the end of the poles, so we can then join them together like so. You're also gonna need nut and bolt for one side, and then on the other side, some kind of pin or even another bolt with like a wing nut. I got really lucky because this actually came with that. Beauty. Now with these saws, when you open them up, they only open up into that one position. I don't like using it in that position. So what I've done is I've modified it so that I can use it in like a 90-degree angle instead. I'll show you how to do that, really easy. Undo that bad boy. As you can see, mine's really old. Once that's out, just pull it out. There's a notch there. You want to also replicate another notch right here. Basically just marked it with a marker and then got an angle grinding cutting blade and just cut it out to replicate that. And once you've done that with your grinder, just put it back together, pretty easy. And now you can use it in that position. Okay, I've got the pole with the joiner and I'm basically just gonna get these hose clamps. All right, just tighten these up real good. Beautiful. Nice and strong. That's not gonna come off. It's not gonna slide off either. I've joined them together. Look how long that is. That's unextended. I'm feeling a bit thirsty after all that work. Let's get some coconuts. Yeehaw, we got one. Haha, check out my juicy coconuts. Just like that, fresh coconuts straight off the tree. Now this lives very handily on the outside of my vehicle on my roof rack. I've got them clamped on with a couple of those quick fist rubber clamps. It's very easy to put together. Basically just slide one end on the other and then chuck the pin in. Coconut pole is almost ready. When extending it to the right length, I always start with the thicker sections first. I only use the very top and very bottom sections if I really, really need to. Reason why is because it's thinner, and when this thing's fully extended, you'd be surprised how much flex there is in it. And these thinner bits are definitely more prone to bending. Check it out. That's pretty good height. And the other thing is, when you lift it up, you want to be careful not to let it swing too much or put too much pressure on any of the parts, because it can bend. And when bringing it down, I try and do it gently. All right, coconut pole's ready. Now you might be wondering why I'm using it on a 90-degree angle and not straight like that. The main reason is I find it quite hard to saw the whole entire stem from down here. It can be really hard. Sometimes it can take 20 minutes or so. So I prefer just to go 90 degrees, grab a nut at a time and pull them down. They usually come down pretty easily as long as you're on the actual coconut itself. Now, all I'm doing is I'm gonna put the top of the blade on one coconut, get a good grip on it, make sure it's not touching anything else but the actual coconut itself. I'm gonna stand out the way and then give it a good yank. One down, easy as that. You don't want to be putting too much stress on the coconut pole. Grab the coconut, give it a yank and pull it off the stem. Yeah. Now this tree was actually pretty easy. It isn't too tall. I do obviously go for the shorter trees first. It's a lot easier. When that pole is fully extended, it's something like 9 meters high. And at 9 meters, there's a lot of flex, and looking up, especially if it's a sunny day, looking up and concentrating can be really, really hard, and you'll start to feel it in your neck sooner or later. Try and get them off the smaller trees. Now these guys here, they're still young. Now the thing about getting younger coconuts, their nut inside hasn't actually formed yet, which means that if the ground is hard, when it hits the ground, it'll split open and you'll lose all your water. I love getting them on beaches because it's usually sandy and the sand will break the fall. With the more mature coconuts, it's usually not a problem. If you want to make the ground a bit softer, you can always grab a whole lot of these fronds and make a bit of a bed just to break the fall a bit of padding. All right, check this out. All right, when I'm out harvesting coconuts, I always carry with me my silky nader. You might have seen this in my last videos. Japanese quality steel, ultra sharp, really good weight, really strong. Awesome for opening up coconuts and chopping down branches and trees. And I've also got my metal straw. There's the top where it comes out of the stem. I go from the bottom and I cut like this all around there and shave all that off. This guy is actually still quite young, and the nut is actually still forming. There it goes. Well, get my handy little metal straw. Here we go. So good. Can't beat fresh from the tree. Cool. Stay tuned for some more episodes on Bushman Mick.